coronavirus is about. I don't understand how that shit was from Wuhan, China. Now all of a sudden this shit is a motherfucking tour. And let me tell y'all something. I ain't gonna front. A bitch is scared. I'm a little scared, you know what I'm saying? Like, shit got me panicking. And a lot of you motherfuckers think it's a joke, like I was thinking, right? But that shit right there, just because you think you immune to it, guess what? Your pocket ain't, bitch, because a lot of shit comes from motherfucking China, bitch. So if you wonder where your motherfucking weave or your fashion over motherfucking packages have arrived, guess what, bitch? Coronavirus! Coronavirus! I'm telling you, shit is real!
What are you guys doing in my bedroom? That's a little weird. Who invited you? Oh, I did? Well, oh yeah, I did. Awkward. You guys, welcome to this week's edition of the Antisocial Socialite, live from my bedroom. And you want to know why? As I promised you guys weeks ago, because I've been waiting a whole 2 months for my bedroom set to arrive, it's here, and I told you I was going to film an episode here. But why, you ask? And you probably didn't even watch that last episode when I said I was going to. Really? You want to see why? Do you? Okay, let me show you. Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, motherfucker, yes. That's right. This shit lights up. Let me just put it back on for you. It is like the most fabulous piece of furniture I think I've ever owned. And you know what the better part of all of that is? My gigantic dresser. The gigantic mirror that goes on my dresser. It does it too. I mean, who do you know in your life that is more fabulous than I am? And my mom always says to me, there's nobody else that I know of that can possibly pull this off like you can. So you're welcome, everyone. I hope you enjoy the fabulousness. I'm going to leave it lit up for you to all enjoy throughout this episode. But you know what? We have a few things that we're going to celebrate today. First and foremost, it is the 1 year anniversary of COVID entering the United States like a bitch. And she hasn't gone away. And I'm sick of her, but we have to deal with her for a little bit longer. But coronavirus, shit is real. Cardi B just told you that, like, you know, this shit is real. It's still happening and it sucks. But we're gonna stay safe, everybody, right? And wear your masks. So yeah, we have the anniversary of COVID ravaging the United States. We have St. Patty's Day. Here's my pillow. Yeah, just grabbed it out of the guest room. I had it on the bed there, and I just want you to know that being the Irish girl that I am, I actually don't have any Kelly Green pieces in my wardrobe. I'm pointing because my walk-in closet's right over there, that I could choose to wear today on the episode. So I decided that this random pillow that somebody had gifted me would suffice, and my green eyeshadow. Yes, you're welcome. So those are, well, we're not celebrating COVID, but we're celebrating St. Patty's Day. We're also celebrating, we're in the middle of Women's History Month. A couple celebrities actually just made amazing headlines, and we have to just like shout them out, whoop whoop, for this week. So the Grammys were just on Sunday, and Beyonce just won 4 more awards, and that brings her to her lifetime total of 28. She is the most decorated female to ever win that many Grammys. That's amazing. And Blue Ivy, her daughter, just won her first one. She's the second youngest. Like, come on, women are badass. And also, it was just announced that Viola Davis just made Oscar history by becoming the most nominated Black actress ever. Like, I definitely pulled a muscle in my arm, so I'm like crippled right now too. But like, that's absolutely incredible. And there's so many stories that I've been hearing over Women's History Month that really just make me super inspired and happy and proud to be a woman. So let's just like keep celebrating. I mean, Black History Month is every month. Women's History Month is every month. We're just gonna keep going month after month. So what is April bringing? What kind of history can we learn from that? Baby month? Baby history month? We need to highlight cute babies. Oh my god, I have so many memes. Alright, maybe I'll do that for April. I definitely won't do that. I just lied to you all. But you know what? My guest this week was raised by an amazing woman and an amazing grandmother and an amazing aunt. Like, he just has an incredible family. We talk about that a little bit in the interview, but we actually talk a lot about him because he is who I'm interviewing and he is who I adore the most. My guest for this week is Dimitri Petrosian. I've known him for almost a decade, and he was a former client of mine at my trash bag former employer. And he actually works for 617 Productions. He started off, doing promotions for the nightclubs and kept growing into becoming just a badass with 617 and, hosting after parties for the sports championship teams and celebrities coming to town. There was after parties at the clubs and all that stuff. I mean, he had his hand in all of that. Of course, I had to ask him some questions about celebrity brush-ins that he's had. But he really just speaks to the fact he's not just like any type of promoter. He is just such a humble dude, such a genuine dude, but he really always is like so good about hospitality. He hooked me up for Vanessa's 30th birthday party at the Real House, which he's a partner there. He hooked me up for my friend Sarah's bachelorette party. Unfortunately, the girls caused a bit of a ruckus, so we got kicked out of the club, but he got us in, and that's all that matters. My cousin Biz, her bachelorette party, got a table for us. I mean, like, he has always just been so good to me and doesn't expect anything out of it. And that's why I love Timmy. He is the best. But with COVID, I mean, honestly, a year ago today, we had closed my store that I was working in. And little did I know, I was just like, yes, I have 2 weeks off. This is great. Like, little 2-week vacation of getting paid. But little did I know what the hell was going to come out of it. But Dimitri, having all the nightclubs and the restaurants closed, really had to pivot with his direction on what he was going to be doing for work next. And with that being said, he is actually in retail now. Retail? No, why did I just say that? That was a bold-faced lie. He's in real estate now. Yeah, he's in real estate. He is, well, actually, you know what? Why don't I just play the interview and you guys, I'm telling you a whole biography about Dimitri when you could just hear it firsthand from him. But no, I have to hype him up because I absolutely adore him. He is the best. He just got married and she's beautiful. I haven't met her yet, but she seems like a really sweet person and I wouldn't expect anything less. And yeah, I just enjoyed my time chatting with him, and hopefully I will get to see him one day soon in the future. Maybe when I really become a YouTube sensation, I can host a party at a club, because by that time, the clubs will definitely be open. That's probably going to be in 2050. I'll finally hit 100,000 subscribers, but whatever. But no, he's just such a dope dude. So I will just cut to the chase. I don't know what that was. I'm going to introduce to you my Antisocial Member of the Week. We are going to do the interview with Dimmy. You can catch clips of that, and then you can actually watch the whole interview on my YouTube page. And then we're going to just wrap up the show. But before I forget, this week I just started my Antisocial Advisor on my YouTube. I mean, that was a lie too. Why did I keep lying to you guys? Ugh, rude. On my Instagram, and Instagram only, it is the Antisocial Advisor, where I'm going to give you guys advice. So I have people anonymously reaching out to me, seeking advice from an array of different topics, and I'm here to serve you, and I'm going to spill your tea anonymously. So let's just have fun with that. So make sure that you reach out. I'm as petty can get. You guys haven't seen that side of me yet. But I totally can be petty. It's in my nature. It's in my Irish nature. No, it's not. It's just me being a bitch. But I can get petty, I can be honest, I can be genuine, but I'm always going to give you the best advice. So, Antisocial Advisor, you can DM me, you can email me, you can send me a scroll, messenger pigeon, whatever you want to do, you know, get in touch with me. I'm here for you. And then also, I am 14 subscribers away from reaching 85 subscribers. So please make sure that you subscribe. What is my problem today? Maybe I need to take a nap while you guys watch the interview. Subscribe to me, like my videos. First of all, watch them because that helps. But yeah, definitely check me out. Go support me. Spread the word. I do have a contest going. So again, check out at Antisocialite Katie on Instagram. So you guys can watch my videos with the contest described in there. And that's it. Got the electrician coming, so I should probably cut this shit short. I probably am going to need him because by the time I'm done, I'm going to like blow out the lights on this headboard. So I'm going to have to talk to him about that. But yeah, enjoy. This week's Antisocial Circle Member of the Week is my friend Kadreen. I hadn't seen her in like a year and a half plus. Rude. Not on either one of our parts, just, you know, life. But she's a badass. She's a doctor, first of all. I should say Dr. Kadreen. Let me get that shit right, especially during Women's History Month. But she's amazing. And I finally got to catch up with her and swap stories and just, you know, love each other. This past weekend, we went to the Museum of Fine Arts. The Basquiat exhibit is still going on. So I was like, girl, you want to come with me? And she did, and she's amazing. And we went to brunch, and we did some shopping, and it was just like a really good day to get out and enjoy good company, good food. It was beautiful out. And she is just an incredible human, so you guys need to be on the lookout for her. We're going to make her a YouTube sensation. And I don't know if it's because she's a doctor who actually does create vaccines. So she's very well educated. If you guys ever feel like you're an anti-vaxxer, she's going to check you real quick. But she's an amazing cook. And I think she needs to make her own Instagram page so you guys can follow her on that. Because like her page is private and she always puts up these great, you know, recipes that she's making. I'm like, I don't know what the hell you're doing, girl, because I can't even make a peanut butter and jelly without burning it, and you don't even have to cook it. So whatever, but she's the best. I hope you guys know that. So she's the Antisocial Circle Member of the Week. But yeah, enjoy my interview with Dimitri, and I'll see you guys after. Hello, everyone. Today with me, I have the wonderful, absolutely amazing Dimitri Petrosian. How are you, my dear?
Good, Katie. How are you?
I am wonderful. I'm so happy to see your face because it has been way too long.
I'm excited to be here as well. I know it's crazy, like starting to run into people that I haven't seen like in the past year. You know, it's like, you know, it's a little exciting, you know, to get back and, you know, see some familiar faces. So
absolutely. You're essentially what I would say, like, the unofficial mayor of Boston. I think that you know pretty much everybody and their families. So it's really hard when you're like, I'm finally starting to see people again, because you were always out and about and then the world shuts down and you're like, wait, what's happening? I don't know what to do. I can't stay at home. This is boring.
It's almost like a year to the day. I mean, it was St. Patrick's Day last weekend, you know, that we were doing like some St. Patty's Day bar crawl. And like, I remember like that week leading up to it, you know, everything was, you know, going good. And we kept hearing about this coronavirus thing. And then all of a sudden, like that weekend, the entire city of Boston shut down. You know, and just to update people, you know, for the past like 10, 15 years, I've been working in hospitality with a company called 617 Productions. And we ran a lot of the nightclubs and the bars in the city, hotels. You know, New Year's Eve, we used to do 25 to 30 different venues, Boston Donut Fest, but our main business was running weekly nightclub events. So we had a Tuesday, a Wednesday, a Thursday, 2 Fridays, 2 Saturdays. So I would say 7 to 9 weekly events is what we did. So referring to what Katie's saying, you know, most of what I was doing was hosting and running these nights. And it was kind of fun because, you know, I got to meet, you know, a lot of cool people, make a lot of nice friends, and it was definitely a very social job that I had. And again, St. Patty's Day weekend, everything just took a nosedive and the world changed. So
yeah, which is so crazy. And we're going to dive into like what you're doing now since all of that happened. But we have to kind of like run it back a little bit because that's essentially how I met you. Well, I did meet you at my old job, right? Yep. You came in and I'm like, hi, nice to meet you. And you're like, oh, this is what I do. If you ever need to like come out, you know, let's connect, all this stuff. And then like literally Dimitri is like my go-to person. I'm like, I have a bachelorette party that I'm hosting. I need to do this. It's my birthday. He's always like so ahead of it because his birthday is only a few days after mine. So he's like, I know your birthday's coming up. If you want to go out, let me know. We'll get you a table, like always like on top of it. And I don't know as if you always just memorize my birthday or if you go through your Facebook birthday reminders, but either way, I'm always impressed year after year that you remember.
Funny, a lot of people bring that up, and it's like that, you know, sometimes through Facebook, sometimes obviously you don't remember, but like the funny thing is the majority of people I understand, like, you know, even me now that I'm getting older, I'm not 22, you know, I'm 32 now. You know, they might not directly themselves want to go out, but everyone has a friend or a cousin or someone in town, or even people that haven't gone out in a few years, like, you know what, hey, I'm having a girls' night or, you know, a guy's night, and where should we go, you know? And it doesn't need to be, the way I always viewed that too wasn't like, you know, hey, come to the only place I'm working. If you want to go to a restaurant, need a reservation, or want to go to whatever hotel, if I have access and can, you know, take care of someone, I think that's how I was able to build a good, you know, I was honest with my friends and, you know, clients too. Just, you know, if you're looking for this vibe, I'm not going to tell you to go somewhere, you know, where it's not non-existent, you know? So that's always been a good thing to just, you know, keep people, you know, happy and, you know, hit me up when they need stuff and vice versa. So it's been
absolutely good. But I would say that like your nightclub, restaurant, just connections literally are all over the place.
Yeah.
I know, because I was like, all right, Dimmy, I have my best friend's 30th birthday party. You're like, okay, go here, go to, you know, this place. I'm going to set it up. And then we get there and he has champagne brought to the table. I had no idea. I'm like, this is like the true definition of hospitality. So that way, when the world opens up and if you ever get back into this again, everybody please just like hit him up. Tell him I sent you.
Yeah.
So I know, but yeah, so I mean, like literally when the world shut down, you're like, oh fuck, like this is huge right now. Like this is all I've known. So we're going to talk about like the transition because you are now like in a new space and I'm so excited for you. So I want to hear from you finally that I get to see your face and catch up because text messaging or like seeing it on Instagram is not the same. Yeah. So I want to hear more about what you're doing right now.
I mean, in the past year, a lot's happened. Obviously, you know, like I said earlier, I've been involved with a hospitality company called 617 Productions. You know, still involved right now. You know, obviously everything that we're doing, you know, involved crowds of people. So it really hasn't happened. Also was invested in a couple of restaurants, you know, a gym. Again, basically everything that I'm involved in was directly affected by the pandemic. You know, I do see a lot of good things starting to happen. You know, we had a soft opening last night of Real House Marina Bay. I'm involved in the East Boston location. So, you know, all that stuff over the past year, you know, everything was on an upward trajectory, stopped. But I think it was kind of good to take a step back because, you know, I got engaged last January, got married in October. You know, I was kind of stuck in this hamster wheel of like, all right, this is what I do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Like I didn't feel a lot of growth at the time. So it was kind of nice to have a break and live a normal life. Cause you know, my day might've started, you know, 10 a.m. and like, you know, I went to bed at 3:30, 4 o'clock every day, you know, and I was just so used to that. So to have like a transition into like, okay, a normal life at home, not out every weekend, it was hard, but it was kind of nice. At the same time, you know, when all this stuff was happening with COVID, you know, my family, you know, was involved in some real estate things, nothing crazy, but I've always helped them out, you know, whether it was renting out some apartments or helping with some city stuff or paperwork. And through there, you know, when I was 20, I took a real estate exam, never took the test. You know, I just didn't have that drive for it. 2 years ago, I took the course again. And again, it's one of those things a lot of people I know do, never follow through and take the test. Finally, it's like July 4th weekend. I was talking to my fiance at the time and I'd scheduled a test. I'm, you know, I'm just going to go and like, you know, wing it, whatever. And she's like, why don't you just sit down and study, you know, and just try to do it. So I said, all right, you know what, let me get this done. Studied, took the test, you know, luckily passed, you know, the first time. And again, I was kind of impulsive. I'm like, let me just go sign up with my friend's brokerage, you know? So again, my wife, thankfully, is like, why don't you shop around a little bit and like, so many people that do real estate, that do development, like, and, ask your friends. So then I got obsessed and I started talking to everyone that I knew. I probably talked to like 15 different brokerages, like, then I got like anxiety. I'm like, which way should I go? Should I go to this place? This place is in Waltham. This is in East Boston. This is in Southie. Luckily, I landed with a company called Elevated, based out of Southie. And the cool thing about what I really liked was we have a development side, we have a brokerage side, we have some commercial stuff. So it's a little bit of a mix of everything. And for me, long-term, the goal is to like, understand, okay, this is how you source a deal. This is how you buy it. This is how you develop it. And then, you get to see the whole process. So right now, we have a 15-unit development going on in Southie, in East Boston. We have some stuff in Dorchester. So we have a lot of different things that we can sell our own product. So I went from hospitality right into real estate. And I think the transition for me was pretty seamless. Number one, because a lot of real estate is networking. You have to know people. And luckily, with the nightlife stuff, I've kind of done the same thing, staying in touch with people and, trying to convert that to real estate. Obviously, everyone needs a place to live, and it's one of those things that even if something happened in 10 years where I want to change paths, it's always something you can have in your back pocket. So I found a good team, everyone kind of the same vision, they're on an upward growth, trajectory. And it's been really fun, and I've been able to like help out, industry people that I've worked with. And it's something that kind of ties in, it's funny, the company Elevated that I work with, we actually hosted a real estate networking event in like 2016 at the Rivera Rooftop, downtown Boston Common. And we actually hosted them, so I didn't even know who they were. I was just like, all right, cool. Here's a real estate thing. Now it's like, everything's come full circle, and I was looking up the pictures from the album from that event. It was like, it's kind of funny. So the same exact guys, now I'm working together with them. So it's been fun. Definitely a good transition. And, we'll see what the future holds, but it's been very exciting.
It's really amazing to see. And it's kind of like funny and ironic that you actually hosted them. And now, like you said, it is full circle. You're like, wait, did I know eventually? Like, was this like, a premonition of some sort? But I think like, just like the human, like, I don't want to say the human touch because that sounds like so corny, but just like your like genuine side, like you really do care about people. It's not like you're just like doing it to make a commission. You're doing it, like you just are like such a good person. I have never met anybody that has disliked you, first of all. Like your name, like every time I'm like, oh, Dimitri Petrosian, I love him, like Dimmy. Everybody always says such amazing things about you, but I think that those are skills that are like so easily transferable into any industry that you go in. So like where you're trying to sell tables or, there is a celebrity coming to town and you're hosting an event or you're doing whatever, you get people, you make the connections, you promote, you do all this stuff. The product of being a celebrity or the event, you just turn it into like a condo or a house now, so it's like, it doesn't matter like what the end game is, like you're literally just using those same skills. And I think that you are literally perfect for this role. So I'm so excited for you. And I've seen that you actually have been talking on your Instagram a little bit like about the development. Like, do you have like more of a passion to go into like the development aspect? Are you looking to just like sell? Like where do you want to go with this? Or do you literally want to do everything?
I mean, I think obviously I'm still, learning. I think on a personal level, I see, whether it's my grandparents or, people, as they get older, a lot of, good ways you can be comfortable is to have like, passive income coming in off of, rentals or property that you own, property that's paid off. So I think on a personal level, I'd like to do that. My brother works in construction, he's getting his GC license. So maybe on the side, we start, grabbing a couple of things. I'm not exactly sure, but again, it's kind of funny because I got in and the property that my family's involved in and a building that my company recently purchased are both commercial, like office space and like, mixed use type buildings. And with my connections in hospitality, it's like, one is like kind of a restaurant space. So like, I have a lot of connections to kind of fill those too, and I think, there's going to be a lot of commercial properties coming up as well. So we've done leasing with that. And then on the residential side, we just got a 37-unit building as well that we're selling in Eastie, all condos. So I guess back to your point, right now I'm doing a little bit of everything. So I think on a personal level, I like to do more of the development. But as far as, being a real estate agent or a broker, I will work my hardest for anyone that asks me for anything, and just like with nightlife, I'm honest, and I'll say, look, this is what I can do. And if I can't get you the answer, I'll call the person who can get you the answer. So I think it's just right now for me learning everything and then realizing what my actual niche is. But I think right now luxury sales in Boston is the angle that I'm going for.
You know, it's so funny because you take so much pride in your culture. And, you know, when I was working on Boylston Street and literally like they had the Armenian yeah, like no, I don't want to call it a parade because it was really to raise awareness of what was happening, but all the cars with the flags and beeping. And you're literally the first person I thought of because you take so much pride, you know. But
we're a small country, you know, like I grew up, you know, very Armenian. And it's like, you know, we always feel like, you know, we have to stand up for things we believe in. And, you know, we're a small little place, you know, surrounded by a bunch of other countries and politics. So, you know, we always try to like be a vocal, you know, here in the States and the diaspora. So it's been something that was like ingrained in me since I was a kid.
Which is nice. I mean, I feel like let's talk a little bit about your Italian side too, because your grandmother is pretty well known in the area, and your aunt, I should say.
Yes. So our Armenian side is how I basically grew up Armenian, but then my grandmother, her name is Yolanda Salucci. She used to own a bridal store in Waltham called Yolanda's. And I mean, both my grandparents are still alive and well. So I grew up in the fashion world, you know, in bridal and, you know, fashion shows and things like that. My aunt, my mother's sister, her name is Sandra Celli. She does all the clothing design for like New England Patriots cheerleader outfits, my big fat American gypsy wedding, a bunch of things. So as a kid, like I had like the coolest Halloween costumes. Like, hey, I want to be Batman, and I had a Batman costume. I want to be, you know, so-and-so. And she would legit make the costume like to a T, to my body. It was the coolest thing. And then my mother, you know, who's on the Italian side, you know, I lost her in 2018. She had esophageal cancer. And she was a model her whole life. She's been in Italian Vogue. You know, she lived in Milan when she was in her, you know, early 20s. You know, so super Italian American family. You know, again, it was hard, you know, losing my mom, you know, in 2018, but it's one of those things that as you get older and, you know, as you see how life goes, you know, nothing's promised. I have plenty of friends that, you know, lost a parent, two parents, a sibling. You know, I had another friend who lost his, you know, older cousin to ALS, you know, 40 years old. So like you learn to be grateful for the time you have with the people you have. And that's kind of, you know, where it is. You know, it's hard, but you know, my mom instilled a lot of good things in me, you know, so my parents had a good dynamic. I'm very fortunate for that. I know not everyone has that. So, yeah, that's some of the background with the family stuff, but it helped make me who I am. And, you know, hopefully, you know, I can make them proud and, you know, life goes on. So
absolutely. Well, no, and yeah, you're always so good about, you know, showing your family side too. And I think that's when like it's so hard to like explain, but I'm like, everybody just loves you, right? Because I'm like, you're just like such a good light for everybody, but like you take pride in what you do and you're so, you know, just lovable like towards your family. Like I see all the pictures that you have of your family online, you know, it's just like so nice to see like you are just like such a good person. It's not for show, it's not for this, whatever. But it's like nice to see. And whenever I told like one of my former coworkers, like I was like, oh, my friend Dimitri and blah, 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 and his grandmother, she's like, I bought my wedding dress from Yolanda, you know, so it's like so funny.
So many people, it's like so-and-so's cousin and this one's aunt. Like I still run into people. I'm like, wait, Yolanda, like from Waltham, the bridal place? I'm like, yeah. And funny, my grandma's still active right now. I mean, she's 86 years old, driving around. She does a TV show in Waltham on Wednesdays. It's like some fashion and glamour thing. So she's still very active. And we also, back to my mom, we started, well, my grandmother pushed for this, was a foundation in my mother's name. It's called the Our Girl Linda Foundation. Right now, all the proceeds that we did an event the first year, all the proceeds go to St. Jude's. My mom was always into like, you know, I mean, as a kid, even growing up, I remember her donating to St. Jude's. So we started a yearly fundraiser that raised money for St. Jude's. And then my grandmother wrote a children's book called Lindy Lou and Her Dancing Shoes. She's writing 10 different ones. So she's writing the second one right now. It's a children's book, and same thing. All the money goes to our foundation, which then goes to St. Jude's. So it's been a fun way to remember my mom and also, you know, raise money for a good cause. And, you know, so that's something at first I was like, oh, do I want to do this? Like, you know, you go through emotions and these things, but, you know, now that I'm happy, we got it off the ground and, you know, it's a 501(c)(3). I don't know what the exact thing is, but, you know, so, yeah, we were supposed to have an event postponed 3 times already. Now we indefinitely postponed it. You know, Lenny Clark is going to be there and things like that. But once we have the official date, everything will be on ourgirllinda.com. So I'll obviously update you. Maybe we can do another segment at that time, for the event.
Love
But
that.
yeah, so.
Love that.
Sorry,
Well, I know, and I don't want to like talk about like your whole family the whole time, and but I wanted to talk about that because of your family dynamic and how amazing your mom's side of the family is. I think is like the path that you went on was just so natural. They're well known, well respected all through the community. So it was like just easy for you to be like, yeah, welcome world, here I am. I'm going to continue this legacy and really like take it on. And I'm like, I don't think for growing up in the family that you've grown up that you would ever have the opportunity to be lazy or a bum, because you all are just like so motivated and determined, and that's what I love.
Really,
But when you talk about like the fashion world and all of that stuff, I mean, I do have to let the viewers know that you've done modeling too, because I've seen you in Boston Common Magazine, and I'm like flipping through, I'm like, hey, and I would like text you pictures and be like, oh, I know this face, like, oh, okay, little model over here.
Still with Maggie Agency in Boston. Again, my mom when I was like 17, she's like, you should do some modeling, and like it was always kind of like more of a passive thing. And I'm still with the agency right now. On quarantine, might have added a couple, 15, 20 pounds, so we're starting to cast things like, send your submissions. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready to do that yet. But modeling's always been fun too. That's something my family was involved in, got involved in that too. Again, never was a full-time position, but it's been fun. We even doing extra work in some movies, through the agency, when I was 21, 22 years old, was cool. And again, a good experience. And again, more networking, get to meet cool people and, do fun things and make some money while you're at it. So that's always been fun.
Now, what movies were you in? So I can like now try to scope you out and be like, I see you.
No, I'm sitting like in the back bench. One was called What's Your Number? And then another one was called Surrogates with Bruce Willis. And I'm like walking on the sidewalk. And this movie they filmed, like, it was probably the hottest days in the summertime. And like, we're just honestly just walking back and forth on the sidewalk. So like, those people you see in the background, like, are they like actual paid actors or whatever, or are these people on the street? And no, they, it's not crazy money, but walk again, do it again. And then what was the last one? I forget what it was. It was like some club. They filmed at a Royale. I forget what movie it was. Maybe that was part of What's Your Number. I gotta look it up. But it was kind of fun. Just side work, and it worked in my nightlife schedule. Because I was working at nighttime, and these modeling's usually obviously not at midnight. So it was cool.
That's so fun. I'm like, I never knew this about you. This is a fun fact. So I'm like, and I've never seen either of those movies. So now I have to check it out and like scope you out and be like, there's Timmy. What fun stories do you have? Because you've met a lot of people in your day.
The most fun that I remember is we're very blessed to be in Boston and have these championship parties. But, it's hosting, the Patriots after winning, championship divisional games or even a Super Bowl, or the Red Sox, but one in particular, I forget, I think it was after the Seattle Seahawks Super Bowl win. And like we hosted the whole team in the back room, and like, they had their rings on. So those kind of events that are kind of like not everyone has access to. I mean, everyone's a Pats fan, obviously, Brady and stuff's not showing up, but, just being able to hang out with, those guys and host them is fun. And another time we had Justin Bieber. It was a Wednesday night. We used to run Storyville at the time. And he had a concert in town, and all week everyone's like, is Justin Bieber going to go out and do this and do that? And there's pictures of him in Boston on the Common, I guess like walking without shoes on or something. And then all of a sudden it was a Wednesday night, and my partner Jeff, he's kind of like the go-to guy for celebrities in town. He's done it, forever. So when they come in, we all host them, but he has like direct contact. And all of a sudden he's like, I think Bieber's coming. Like, no fucking way Justin Bieber's gonna show up to Storyville on Wednesday night. So then all of a sudden we're standing outside, and like, these like these black vans or station wagons, whatever, show up, or the Chevy Suburbans, and like the street gets shut down, and like these guys come on. They look like they're Army Rangers, and like they kind of like block the street off. And then all of a sudden, like, this kid comes off in a hoodie, and I'm like, that's Justin Bieber. I have never seen an entire nightclub, and it's Storyville's small. He goes to one table.
I've been many times, yes.
The entire nightclub cleared out and attacked this corner. No wonder why this guy had security. And he got up on the bar. And, he had like a vape pen or something that was smoking. So, I mean, all these pictures came out in the Globe or whatever the next day. And the nightclub actually got in trouble for allowing someone, because Boston's very crazy with their rules, having someone like standing on a bar smoking like a electronic cigarette or whatever the hell it was, which is crazy. I'm like, it's freaking Justin Bieber. But anyway, so that was a pretty cool experience. So things like that, just randomly, used to happen. And the last one, I'm a big Aerosmith fan, Boston band. And Steven Tyler, actually, I got in touch with him. He was in town for a Halloween party, and we were running Gypsy Bar at the time. And his agent got in touch with me. I had a mutual friend that knew his photographer, and Steven Tyler ended up coming out to Gypsy Bar, and he was sober at the time, and we had no non-alcoholic beer, so we had to order O'Doul's from the neighboring nightclub who gave us a case of it, and he was dressed as Peter Pan. So I have a cool picture of me and Steven Tyler with him as Peter Pan. So, and I love the Aerosmith, so it was one of the coolest things I've ever done. So
that's so amazing.
Being a part of 617, we grew it into more of like, we had an apparel line and, different aspects of it. So I think that's exciting. And I think being able to tie in the real estate along with, I keep talking about the networking and the hospitality portion of it, but, there's no reason why we can't get, professionals together in different fields, and help out other places in the city, whether it's, waterfront restaurants or Real House, the place I'm involved in, or a place in the Seaport. If we're selling condos in the Seaport and we put together events there, it would only make sense. It doesn't have to be until 2 a.m. It could be 6 to 9, one of those things, and then feed it into something else that's going on. So there's definitely opportunities out there, and I'm excited to start seeing the city open up. The North End, I love going there all the time. My buddy owns some restaurants there, Brico, Mari, whatever. Their outdoor seating from last summer was awesome. And I can already see reservations are filling up. I think the city is going to have people are starting, people are getting vaccinated. Some people already had it. The weather's slowly getting nicer. I think it's going to be a big summer for anything that people weren't able to do last year. People are just going to have that appetite. So it's exciting.
Yeah. And I'm curious to see more of the daytime events, because I think that's a great opportunity for Boston to really make their mark for doing things like this, because I feel like the city is small, but we're always kind of like slow growing when it comes to being like innovative in terms of events. So I just think it would be amazing. And, I saw the pictures posted from Donut Fest. I was like, I had no idea it was a donut. I'd probably eat 2 and then be like violently sick. But I'm like, just the idea of having a donut fest is so much fun. So I was like, oh, what else could be done? And it's just like so fun to be able to like explore that creative side and do something like that.
Boston itself, there's so many weird rules. Like, there's no happy hour allowed in Massachusetts. Just one of those things that like, these small businesses and restaurants and hospitality has been hurt. Like, I think they should start loosening up on things like that. In order to allow them to, make up for lost revenue. Something like a happy hour, if you go to New York or anywhere else, like, 5 to 7, we can do, $2 Bud Lights or whatever the case is. I don't see a reason why the city won't allow that, so things like that, you can discount food, we can't discount alcohol. Like there's a lot of weird, some restaurants have an entertainment license, but they don't have a dancing license. And those things I'm like, so you're telling me I can have a DJ play music, but legally I need to pay X, Y, and Z so people can have the ability to dance? Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So, and that's, people always talk about that, like more innovative, cool things in Massachusetts or in Boston. The city needs to tighten their grip on some of that. And I think we can get a lot more, fun, cool, exciting things happening in the city. So I think, and we're going down that path now with them allowing the outdoor seating. And, before we used to be like, you get this permit. And I think they fined, was it Sansi or someone like 2 or 3 years ago for the marathon for like, it was a beautiful day. They opened their windows and put like 2 chairs outside, and all of a sudden the city came and gave them a violation. It's like, all right, well, it's the Boston Marathon. We're lucky it's a beautiful day. Like, let the businesses do what they got to do,
Absolutely. And I think hopefully the turning point of having COVID and all of the businesses being so stifled is that they're going to take a look of, we need to open these businesses up and kind of give them a little bit more leeway to make up the lost revenue, literally from a year's worth of either no business or struggling business. But I just got back from Tampa, and there was this amazing place that I'm like, in my travels, I'm like, Boston needs stuff like this. So it was called Sparkman Wharf. It's right on the water. And they had probably like 8 or 10, and I don't want to call them food trucks because they weren't even trucks. They were just like little, boxes with different food vendors. It was amazing. And so I'm just thinking, okay, there was like tons of fake grass with all these tables and chairs, and they had Adirondack chairs all lined up, overlooking the water. They had a little stage. I'm like, this is just such a great daytime to nighttime venue, or like just outdoor space. And it was just fun to think, because my friend was at one vendor getting this one thing. I'm like, no, I'm not in the mood for that, so I'm going to go to this Mexican place and get this, but they didn't have the drink I wanted there, so I went to the pizza place right behind it and got my drink. So it's like, it's fun because you have different opportunities to just get people together. You don't always just have to pick one restaurant, and people don't want to eat there. There was a beer garden, there was like shops that were starting to open. I'm like, this is what Boston needs. We need places that would be able to facilitate daytime and nighttime. And hopefully, now that you're in the development realm, that you can come up with some of this stuff, because Boston needs this.
I know, I agree.
Yeah, no, Boston needs it, and even like when I went to Philly in November, they have this place called Rec Philly that is a shared space for creatives, and they have, podcast rooms, soundproof rooms, so if you're recording an acting scene or, a song or something like that, you can rent their equipment there, so you don't have to bring all your stuff. And it's an affordable price for a membership. And I'm like, Boston needs something like this, So I was talking to one of my clients, and I'm like, come on, open it up. I'll manage it. I'll do this stuff. But I just think it's like really time for Boston. Like I was just mentioning a few minutes ago, how we're international, but to like really have that on the landscape for us. I just feel like we're so Puritan still in our thinking here.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think, to push the city, forward, I think we're going to need a lot of that. And hopefully, like you said, coming out of this pandemic, they'll see it, and, they'll give some people some breaks and try to encourage, some more creative, events or, business ideas, things of that nature. So I think it's hopefully on the horizon.
Yes. And then we're going to look at you for all those answers and be like, Dimmy,
fix
it for us. Make it. All right. So this is like not pop question time, but like, tell us like one fun fact about yourself that like people don't really know. I'm hitting you on the spot. So you're like, oh shit, now I gotta think.
Fun fact about myself. I speak, read, and write Armenian. I mean, it's kind of cool. I grew up and it's a language that's not based off of, any other language. Like, if you speak Italian, you can kind of like understand French and Spanish because they're all, based off Latin. Armenian is a 38-letter, alphabet that people are like, I remember going to school as a kid, they're like, you're bilingual, you should be able to understand. I was terrible in Spanish. My name was Domingo, which means Sunday. But, terrible. I got like C-, D+ or whatever. But everyone's like, I don't get it. You speak Armenian? I'm like, I don't know. It's a totally different language. So fun fact is, I'm fluent in another language.
That's so cool. Now, have you been ever like able to go over there and visit and practice? Yeah. Oh, good.
Armenia 4 times, but I mean, I went to a regular St. Stephen's Elementary in Watertown, but they also taught Armenian every day. Saturday school till 11th grade, which is Armenian. A lot of my friends are Armenian. My dad spoke Armenian growing up. The reading, writing part, I can't say I'm as sharp as I used to be. So I actually was talking to a friend of mine. His little cousin started this thing. It's a kind of a refresher course, because as you get older, I mean, like we're all in the US, you want to stay close to your roots, but if you're not actively using a language or reading and writing it, not that you forget, but you get rusty. I think, once a week or once a month, just to like, write a paragraph, would be nice. And like, I think they're starting some sort of a program for that. Because for me, I mean, even I wish I spoke Italian as well and learned that. My Italian side of my family were born here. So they're Italian American. But I think it's important to like, pass that on to the next generation too, so things don't get forgotten. But
absolutely.
Definitely something I'm proud of, and kind of a fun fact because not everyone knows,
See, that's why I asked, because I didn't know.
Yeah.
So what I will ask of you is the Lindy Lou in her Dancing Shoes book needs to be written in Armenian and Italian.
That's not a bad idea. And I can have it translated, actually. I should do that and give it to my elementary school, for the kids.
That would be amazing.
I like that idea.
We're going to wrap this up.
Perfect.
Because I'm like, I don't know what else I want to ask you. And I don't want to keep you on here forever.
No, it's definitely was fun. I mean, it's nice again to see an old friend, virtually. And I I appreciate the time, and yeah, it's good just to connect and you know, see what's going on. So I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, of course. I didn't mean like, oh, wrap this up by, but no, that was my really bad segue of saying, I want you to give all your social handles of where we can find you and talk about the website again, if you can give that address, just so we can have everybody like check everything out that you're doing and come support you. And I know that you had asked me about the house, and if I already wasn't working with my good friend, you know, I would have worked with you, and I feel like I cheated on you.
Oh no, without a doubt. I mean, look, I realize that too. There's so many real estate agents out there, and you know, everyone, once you start working with someone, like, you don't want to just, you know, change, because it does take a lot of time and effort. You know, I realize even in the short time that I've done it, you know, you put in this time, and all of a sudden someone goes, hey, and they go silent on you, and like, you really can't let it get to you. Same thing in nightlife too. I can be talking to a client, hey, I'm coming here this weekend, then oh, so and so got sick, we're not coming. I'm like, I just spent 2 weeks planning this out for you. We ordered your cake, we got the balloon, so it happens. You know, you just got to move on. You know, so yeah, I mean, that's part of the game, but no worries.
I know, but I was like, I'm so sorry. But she's a close family friend, and literally I've been working with her for like over a year now to either buy or rent another place. And, you know, it just all worked out. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. But, you know, that's why I will spread.
Well, you got, I mean, look, if we have listings too, who knows? Maybe, like, you know, like I said, with your own developments, like, you know, we list that, and maybe she decides to say, look, you know, I'm going to represent her and we'll represent the buy side, you know, so it's always like 50-50. So who knows?
Exactly. And my new, okay, I'm like, oh, drop your handles, and then I'm going to keep talking, right? But I do have to tell you this one thing. So I recently binge watched Selling Sunset. Have you heard about that show on Netflix?
I have heard of it. Unfortunately, I haven't watched as much, you know, caught up on my shows lately, but you know, I should.
Yes. So basically it's a bunch of beautiful women that work in this office, and they're kind of catty, right? But it's all about real estate. So I'm just thinking, because Christine, who's one of like the top agents in the office, was they had this multi-million-dollar property that they were doing, you know, a broker walkthrough before it got listed, whatever. And they were like, oh, we're going to do this event to bring the brokers in and check it out, right? And she did burgers and Botox. So I feel like this is like a way that, like, when we can start hosting events, you can do it.
Hey, look, there's plenty of things like that to do, you know, get people out, at least come check out the properties and to, you know, network. No, we've talked about that. I know a lot of people do it. You know, there's different kinds of events. You know, some guy was selling a house and like did a barbecue in the backyard for people like, you know, coming by. So yeah, I mean, that's definitely something cool. You know?
So I'm excited to see, because I feel like you probably already had that in the works, but I'm just like, if I ever see you post about burgers and Botox, I'll lose my shit and be like, what? Hey, but I'm like, I don't know, you can get super creative with your events coming up. Yeah, so just like literally always DM me if you have like amazing multi-million-dollar property, and then I'll pass it on so I can help you sell this.
I like that. Perfect.
Right? I'm like, it's all about tapping into your network.
It is, for sure.
And I'm like, who knows? Unless I become a YouTube sensation, I probably can't buy that multi-million-dollar property, but at least I can help you promote it.
Yes, you can.
Oh, you froze for a second. Are you still there? Okay. You're there. You froze.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So Demi, where can we find you on social media so everybody can go and like you and support you and buy shit from you?
So the foundation, we have a website, www.ourgirllinda.com. I'm still working on the website because I have to change we changed the date of the event and organize that, but we can still donate directly through the Eventbrite link. We're still raising money. The event will be sometime in 2021 if everything goes well. So again, that's ourgirllinda.com. For my personal socials, so my personal Instagram is at Dimitri617. It's 6ONE7. That's the name of our company, 617 Productions. So that's Dimitri617. And then I started a real estate page called 617 Real Estate. And again, 6ONE7 Real Estate. So I kind of, you know, took an old page I had, cleaned it up, and transitioned to a real estate page, and trying to focus more on stories rather than just like, hey, look at this condo or look at this house, and like, you know, put a story behind every post that I make, and try not to, like, you know, just fill it with, you know, just sometimes it's repetitive, like, you know, you just kind of scroll past. So something that people will want to read. So yeah, so those are my three main social handles right now. You know, obviously I have Facebook, Twitter. I don't really use those as much, probably should, but And our company website is elevatedboston.com. So from there, buy, sell, rent, our new projects upcoming, we have a really nice website. So definitely would encourage people to check that out.
Absolutely. And I encourage you to keep the stories coming because I saw yours on Facebook today that you sold your childhood friend the home.
Yeah,
and the picture of you two when you were little, I was like, oh, Dimitri, you're so fucking cute.
Yeah. I got a few of those kids. I'm pushing them like, all right, time for you. You're up next. Go buy the house now. Go buy.
Exactly. But that's what I love about it. I'm like, you have good stories behind each of them. You're not just like, here's the listing, bland AF. Like you're like, okay, we've been friends since we were in diapers, and here's some childhood photo. I was like, I loved this. It's just so nice to be able to like.
My wife, Kristen, my wife, organized all that. She's like very on top of that. So. She helped me with, she actually does the posting and organizes it for me. Cause like, otherwise I'm impulsive. I'll just like throw something. She's like, don't just put it up there. You have to like put thought behind it. Even when I write thank you cards, she's like, you need to like, so she helps me a lot. She definitely balances me out and, gives me a lot of support on it. So.
Well, props to Kristen. Tell her I said thank you. Hey guys, welcome back from my interview. I told you, Dimitri is amazing. Don't you guys absolutely adore him? Everybody on planet Earth needs a Dimitri in their life. Honestly, he's the sweetest guy. So make sure to go check him out on Instagram if you are in need for any real estate needs. If you need to rent an apartment, buy a home, build a building, he's your guy. Reach out to him. And when the clubs open in 2050, when I become my YouTube sensation, he might be there. He might host an event. So, look for him there too. But with that being said, happy St. Patty's Day. Happy COVID-versary. Happy Women's History Month. Happy Dimitri is the best day. Happy, I'm happy. Just this, finally, after 2 months of getting my furniture finally settled. Everything. Happy fucking everything, guys. And with that being said, I love you. I'll see you next week. Probably not in bed, but doing something else super cool. With that being said.